first started smoking weed, well, the first time I tried it, I was 14 years old. It was the first time I ever got high. And I had done it since then on and off up until the age of 19, at which point I made it a habit, a daily habit, multiple times a day. I loved smoking weed. I remember the first time getting high. I loved how it made me feel. I loved the munchies. You laughed at the stupidest things. Music sounded amazing. It really took me out of myself, and at times it made me feel like I was enhanced. But the problem was it didn't always feel like that. Sometimes I would smoke weed and I'd feel kind of reserved and sort of reclusive. So at the age of 19, I made it a daily habit multiple times a day. And being in my 40s now, I am now over 6 months sober from weed. No consumption of cannabis whatsoever. And between those years, I did quit. There was one point I quit for a couple of years, and then I fell back into it. And then I would quit again, maybe a couple times more for maybe a few months. And I really had to, recently I had to really just look at my life and look at what I was doing with marijuana. Was this helping me, or was this harming me or holding me back? And thinking back to it, the reason why I quit this time was I don't like how it makes me feel, in the sense that I don't like living my life second guessing myself. That's what weed did for me. And if that's what it was doing for me, then it's not really an enhancement to my life. Also, I became a practicing Catholic. It's just, when you're addicted to something like that, you're going to have to eventually quit. And you have to do it for God. And by the power of God, I am able to do it. I'm able to stay sober. And I thank God I don't have cravings to do it. But as I said, looking back, I had to look at, other than my religion, I had to look, okay, well, why doesn't God want me to do this? And looking at my behavior and comparing it to the past 6 months, yeah, I was living life sort of with your foot constantly on the brake, always cautious, always paranoid, afraid, again, second guessing myself, and I don't want to live life like that. When you're addicted to something such as weed, you're messing with your dopamine levels. And after thinking about that, that's what really bothered me, was thinking, well, what would I be like if I was sober, and if I didn't second guess myself all the time and lived more fully and confidently. And in the past 6 months, I've seen my progression. And comparing it to all those times I was high, sometimes I would smoke weed, not because I really wanted to, but just because it was just habit. It was like, okay, I'm going to work, I'm going to smoke weed, and then I'd feel kind of just muddy and miserable, but I would just do it out of habit because it was an addiction. All those other times in my past when I quit weed, I would have physical symptoms. I know people say weed's not addictive. That's nonsense, and I think people are beginning to realize that. Yeah, obviously it's psychologically addictive if you're doing it out of habit, but it's more than that. It's physiologically addictive. When you quit cold turkey and you're having these severe night sweats and insomnia, those are physical withdrawal symptoms from a drug. Obviously, the irritability that comes for some time afterward. And it was tough. It was tough at first. It's always tough at first because it's just, obviously, it's a habit. You've messed with your dopamine levels, and your body is responding to you not consuming it anymore. So I'm glad to say, being 6 months sober, I'm feeling a lot better, and things are improving day by day, week by week, month by month. And thank God I don't have cravings anymore. Even when there are people around me smoking, instead of like, oh, I wish I could take a hit of that. I don't think that at all. I think like, well, I don't want to do what they're doing. Plus, it smells like skunk, and I know I'll probably get a lot of resistance in this video because of the proliferation of the legalization of weed, the decriminalization of weed, and people, the stigma it has, or the lessened stigma it has. People think, oh, it's not that big a deal. Well, studies are showing that there are some long-term psychological effects of smoking weed for a long time, of chronically smoking weed. It could possibly induce early onset dementia, and I like my brain too much to do that. So I smoked for a long time. I don't need to do any more damage, and I like my new state in life right now, and it feels good. I'm actually living. I'm engaged in life, and I'm becoming more confident and less afraid to do things and say things and try things. So I don't have any regrets, and I know if you're out there, you're trying to quit smoking weed. Maybe you just started, maybe you're a couple weeks in, and it takes a while. If you've been smoking for a long time habitually, it takes a while to get back to normal, but you can do it. You just have to keep yourself focused, and it's about changing your mindset. I would say what really helped me was the channel on YouTube called I think it's Addiction Mindset. He's great. Dr. Frank is great. He really lays out how to quit weed in a different way, and it really gets you to think about it very deeply, because it is all about mindset. So that's it. 6 months sober, feeling good, and that's all I got. Take care. God bless.